Hey, everybody. I hope and pray that you're doing well. Today, as we come to our word from the word, and today that word is trap. Trap. Now, we could go back to Sunday's sermon and talk about the fact that Jeremiah thought that God had almost trapped him and tricked him or enticed him into his calling. But today, this psalm, Psalm 10, is about his confidence in God, his confidence in the fact that God was going to deliver him from the evil, from the oppressors, from the ones who meant to do him harm. And we love to see that theme. Now, there's many times where you'll find psalmists and prophets and even Paul, the apostles, and the disciples were also wondering what was going on, and how believers through all times have wondered, God, what are you doing? God, are you seeing what these people are doing to me? Are you seeing what the enemy is doing to me? God, are you paying attention? We talked about this on Wednesday night in Bible study, talking about the timing of God, and when we start questioning the timing of God, we start kind of losing in our faith. Our faith is almost weakened when we start questioning the timing of God. Here's all we need to know: God has promised, and He will fulfill His promise in His time, not ours. But now you say, okay, well, it's not timing. Today the word is trap, and here's what I want you to see: the first two verses of Psalm 10, we're going to look at today, and I want you to, as always, read the entire passage so you can see the whole theme. But he starts off asking this question. He says, "Why do you stand afar off, O Lord? Why do you hide in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride persecutes the poor. Let them be caught in the plots which they have devised." It's the idea of digging those ditches and letting them fall into the ditches that they've been working on. It's the same thing of whatever they're plotting, let it come back against them. Let it come back around. And I said before, we're not talking about karma, because that is, man, that's just from a whole different belief system that does not honor God. But here's the thing: is that God sees all, and He's asking and praying for God to repay, just like He had promised in the covenant promises. And you say, okay, well, what do we do with that today? Well, it's the same thing. I really go to two verses, two of my favorites, and we could go to Genesis 50, 20, where Joseph is telling his brothers, look, all that you did to me, right? You sold me into slavery, pretended as though I was dead, lied and told everybody I was dead, and I had to go through all of these things, go through years in slavery, years in prison, and kind of went up and down, up and down, up and down to end up being the one who was leading the way by the power of God to deliver the whole nation of Israel, to begin really the salvation of the whole nation of Israel. And he says, look, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Fast forward to Romans 8:28, right? That we know that all things work together for good. And that's according to God's good. Now, when we use that with the word trap, I also think about this: that no matter what the enemy has planned, we want those plans that they're trying to make come against us come back around and get them. Right? I mean, this would be even looking at Samson, right? And the way that they tricked him and his pride, that's a whole nother story. But if you remember, right, they think that they're going to continue to do all these things, and they chain him up, and they got all his strength, and because it was in his hair and everything else, and they decide, look, we can chain him up, nothing's going to be done. But God still honors Samson's final request, gives him his strength back, and he tears down and kills all that were there. Now, when we think about that, that was their evil plots turning back against them. Think Ananias and Sapphira, right? That they had an evil plan and it came back on them. Judas and all those there who were plotting together against Jesus, right? It eventually came back on them. But all of these things, right? Even as we look for the enemy to be caught in the trap that they're trying to set for us, God is still allowing those things to happen because he's trying and testing our faith, or better yet, he's allowing our faith to be tested. and he's strengthening our faith. But it all comes with a price. And the price is this: trust. We've got to simply trust in him. We have to trust in his timing. We have to trust that, even as the psalmist was saying, where are you? When are you going to show up? It's trusting in the fact that, God, I know that you see what's going on. And he goes through this whole psalm and he says, God, I know that you will deliver those who the evil one is coming against. You will deliver the oppressed. And there's all across our world right now Christians that are being beaten down, Christians that are being martyred, and even those who are just poor, who are being oppressed, and yet God sees what's going on. God knows every single action. And no matter what politician, what wealthy person who thinks they can use money to get what they want, no matter what person thinks they can persuade others to believe their lies, and even when the Antichrist, right, when he comes on the scene and he gets everybody to believe his lies, all of those are simply a trap that God is allowing them to set for themselves. So why are we worried about what the enemy could do to us? If God be for us, who can be against us? God bless you, and I pray you have a great day.